My world was once a place of pure joy and absolute certainty. I shared everything with Mark. He was my sun, my moon, my entire universe. We built dreams together. We laughed endlessly. We planned a future filled with warmth and comfort and children and a small house by the sea. Our love story was the kind people read about in books or watched in films. A fairy tale brought to life. I truly believed in forever. I believed in us. There was no doubt, no hesitation in my mind that our connection was unbreakable, a bond forged in the deepest corners of our souls. I trusted him with every fiber of my being. I gave him my whole heart without reservation. It was a beautiful time, a period of my life I will always cherish, even now, knowing what I know, what happened. After that blissful beginning, everything felt right. Everything felt solid. Like the ground beneath my feet was firm and unwavering. Our conversations flowed effortlessly, from silly everyday happenings to deep philosophical thoughts about life and existence. We could spend hours simply looking at each other, finding endless comfort in the quiet presence of the other. It was a love that felt safe and encompassing, a shelter from the storms of the world. A true partnership where support and understanding were always present. I never imagined that such a perfect edifice could crumble, could shatter into a million irreparable pieces. But then the subtle shifts began, almost imperceptibly. At first, like a whisper. You barely hear. Then a shadow that flickers at the edge of your vision. Mark started working. Later, he said a big project demanding extra hours. I understood I truly did. I tried to be supportive, to bring him dinner, to welcome him home with a warm embrace and a listening ear. But his eyes, they were different. They held a new kind of distance, a glaze I had not seen before. His phone became an extension of his hand, always present, always face down. When I was near, he would disappear into another room to take calls, whispering into the receiver. His explanations grew vague, his stories inconsistent. A feeling of unease began to settle in my chest, a cold knot tightening with each passing day. I dismissed it at first, attributing it to stress or my own overthinking. I told myself I was being paranoid, that my imagination was running wild. But the feeling persisted, a persistent hum of something wrong, a dissonance in the symphony of our lives. I started checking little things, small details that used to go unnoticed, a stray hair on his jacket that was not mine, a faint scent of a perfume I did not wear on his clothes, a new evasiveness in his responses. When I asked about his day, the trust that had been the bedrock of our relationship began to erode slowly, silently, like water wearing a waystone. I tried to talk to him, to express my growing concerns, but he would simply brush them off with a quick kiss and a dismissive tone, telling me I was imagining things, that I needed to relax, that he loved me and only me. His words felt hollow, however, ringing false against the backdrop of my burgeoning suspicions. One evening, he left his phone unattended on the kitchen counter for what felt like only a moment, an eternity. I knew it was wrong to look, but an overwhelming compulsion seized me, a desperate need to either confirm my fears or put them to rest. My fingers trembled as I picked it up. The screen still lit from a recent message. The name on the screen was unfamiliar. A woman. A long string of messages scrolled beneath a conversation filled with intimate details and expressions of affection that should have been meant for me. My breath caught in my throat, a sharp, agonizing gasp that tore through my chest. The world spun around me. The floor beneath my feet seemed to dissolve into an abyss. The words on the screen blurred and sharpened simultaneously. each one a dagger, piercing my heart over and over again. It was undeniable, clear as the brightest day. My husband, my Mark, my forever, had been living a double life. He had betrayed me in the cruelest, most devastating way possible. The shock was immense, a physical blow that left me breathless and weak. My vision swam with tears hot and relentless, burning streaks down my face. A scream built in my throat but remained trapped. A silent, agonizing cry. I felt a profound sense of nausea, a sickness that gripped my entire being. The pain was unlike anything I had ever experienced before. A crushing weight that squeezed all the air from my lungs. Every memory, every laugh, every shared secret, every promise we ever made together instantly became tainted, sullied by this horrific revelation. The man I thought I knew, the man I loved with every fiber of my being, vanished, replaced by a stranger, a deceitful monster who had systematically dismantled my trust and shattered my reality. When he walked back into the kitchen, I stood there, phone in hand, eyes wide with unshed tears, and a heart that felt like a gaping wound. He saw the phone. He saw my face, and his own face crumpled, his carefully constructed facade falling away to reveal a look of shame and guilt that was almost as devastating as the discovery itself. There was no need for words. The truth hung heavy in the air between us, a suffocating blanket of betrayal. The confrontation was a blur of accusations, tears, and desperate attempts at explanation from him. Explanations that rang hollow and offered no comfort. No solace, no genuine apology could ever undo the damage that had been done. The fabric of our life together had been ripped apart, irreparably torn by his choices, his deceit, his infidelity. I asked him how he could do this to us, to me, to everything we had built. He mumbled about loneliness, about misunderstanding, about fleeting moments of weakness. But none of it mattered. None of it excused the profound pain he had inflicted. I felt a deep, cold rage simmering beneath my sorrow, a burning anger at the disrespect, at the lies, at the utter disregard for my feelings and our shared history. The days and weeks that followed were a living hell. I walked through life in a fog of pain and disbelief. The simplest tasks felt monumental. Eating, sleeping, breathing, every moment was a struggle against the overwhelming tide of grief and anger. Our home, the sanctuary of our love, now felt like a battlefield, a constant reminder of the war that had raged within its walls, leaving nothing but devastation in its wake. I saw him differently. I saw him as the man who had stolen my innocence, my faith in love, my belief in forever. He tried to apologize. He tried to beg for forgiveness. He tried to explain his actions, but the words were empty, hollow echoes in the vast cavern of my broken heart. I knew then that some things, once shattered, could never be truly mended. The trust was gone, irrevocably lost, like a delicate glass dropped and smashed into 1,000 pieces. You can try to glue them back together, but the cracks will always remain a visible scar. A constant reminder of the breakage. I spent countless nights staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, searching for clues I had missed, for signs I had ignored, for anything that could explain why he would choose to inflict such pain. But there was no logical explanation, only a gaping wound where my trust used to be. I wrestled with the decision of whether to stay or to leave. My heart screamed for him to stay, to somehow magically undo what he had done, to return to the blissful ignorance of before. But my mind, my battered and bruised mind, knew that could never happen. The person he was to me was gone, replaced by this stranger, this betrayer. The pain of leaving was immense, but the pain of staying of living with the constant knowledge of his betrayal would have been far greater. A slow, agonizing death of my spirit. I chose to leave to begin the arduous journey of healing alone to reclaim my life from the wreckage he had left behind. It has been a long and difficult road filled with moments of intense sorrow and profound loneliness. There are days when the memories still haunt me, when the ghost of our past love whispers doubts into my ear. But there are also days when I feel the strength returning, a slow, steady rebuild of my shattered self. I am learning to trust myself again, to listen to my intuition, to build a new future, free from the shadow of his deceit. I am learning that love, true love, should never come at the cost of your own dignity or your own peace of mind. Infidelity leaves a lasting scar, a deep wound that changes you forever. But it also teaches you resilience. It teaches you about your own strength, your capacity to survive and to eventually thrive. Again, I may never fully understand why it happened or what truly drove him to betray our sacred bond. But I am learning to accept that some questions may never have satisfactory answers, and that is okay. My focus now is on myself, on my own healing, on building a life that is truly mine, filled with genuine connections and unwavering self-respect. The journey continues. Every day is a step forward, a step away from the pain, and towards a future filled with hope and the promise of a love that is honest and true. A love that does not break its promises. A love that chooses integrity above all else. A love that will one day feel like sunshine again after a long and painful winter.